Are we ready? I can see it there, proof. I just want to feel her a bit more on this camera. So shoulder or something like that. Yeah. I think I want to start where everyone sort of starts, or starts when they hear of the name Reti or burnt onion. Where does it all sort of begin for you? How did you begin this business?
Well, so yeah, KTV was a thing, so I've been in front of the camera, but I've always known my passion lay behind it, like writing, directing, producing. That's what I've always known. I've said this a lot of times. I used to watch Friends, record it, and then during the school holidays, act like I was producing it and writing it and saying cut and this is a scene. So I've always known that this is something I want to do, even though I was like, I don't really know what it means to own a production company. Yeah. I went to AFTA, I did my BA in producing mostly and writing. And in third year, I was like, screw it, let's start a company. At that time, Teppo was working for the banks. Yeah. He was working in HR.
Teppo, your brother?
Yeah, Teppo, my brother and business partner. So he was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm like, yeah, let's just register a company and see what happens. So I said, I have this name that I've had since I was like 11 years old, Burnt Onion. He didn't understand it, but he was like...
No one understands it.
Like it's provocative.
It's worked out for you guys now because something's
because the corporate identity we got out of it was great. But okay, so this is the lamest story ever. We were probably in grade 5. A friend of mine was starting a band, and he was like, "I need names for a band." And people were throwing out like pickle jam, what, and I wasn't the one who actually said burnt onion. Okay. But as soon as it was actually a friend of mine, as soon as they said it, I was like, "That's amazing. That's a great name." And he was like. He was like,
yeah, I can imagine how that doesn't sit well.
Yeah, and then I was like, one day I'm going to use this thing. Crazy. But who knew that one day I was going to use it to name a company?
A company that you own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when we thought of the names of the company, I was like, try Burnt Onion, because obviously you have to give like 3 options when registering a company.
What year was this when you started Burnt Onion?
This was 2008. So we're in our 10 years this year, that 2018. Yeah, it is very crazy.
I was just about to begin the journey to come to Joburg. Like, I'd just taken a gap year and I knew nothing about TV production.
Look at you now.
No, I mean, come on. But
maybe I should be interviewing you. I feel like this is the wrong thing.
No, but like seriously, like I knew nothing about it. But to sort of look at your age and look at the time that was 2008, Black young production houses were a few. They weren't like a big, like how we have now. Like it's a big conversation now, but essentially 2008.
Nothing. Yeah, and that's the crazy thing. So we registered it. It was just me and Teppo. Yeah. Kat actually worked for another production house. And then middle of the year, he's like, you know what? Can I join you guys? And we were like, okay, cool. We split the share. And then there were briefs out by SABC. And we're like, what are the chances? Let's just submit something. Yeah. There was a brief for a family sitcom, and we're like, let's just do it. I was still in my 3rd year, so I wasn't really like full on, working for Burnt Onion. So we're like, let's just submit it. We actually missed the submission date, but we were able to submit. Then they said, no, you can't submit. You have to do it unsolicited. And we're like, oh, okay, whatever. We got it. We pitched. Unsolicited, we pitched.
So you know nothing about TV production.
Yeah.
Yet you're confident enough to say, well, let's pitch. Where does that come from? Is that instinct?
Yeah, I think we have stories in our head, and just telling people that we have some good ideas has always been very important to be very vocal about that. What we didn't expect from the SABC was that they would let us produce it on our own. So back in the day, there was Black Brain, who was doing City Sessler and stuff. So they were like a huge sort of inspiration. Yeah. It wasn't just Mandla at that time. There was Luke Rouse, Josh, and Maren Reddy. They had formed Black Brain together. Yeah. So they were people I really looked up to. So they had a sitcom. I was like, why could,
They actually wanted to act on City Sessler. Like, when I was at home, I was just like, yo, this is prime property.
Right.
Like, for any kind of Black person who's really trying to push. I mean, you have Mandla in the background, who's also on screen, and then you have like these young talents that just keep on swapping. They were like the dream. They set the standard. So when we got it, we thought, because at that time, any young sort of company who's never done anything, SABC would say, okay, you got to do it with a bigger company. So maybe an Endemol or something like that. With us, they were like, cool. And we were like, really? Okay, this is crazy. And then the worst thing happened. SABC had their financial crisis. Yeah. So I remember that pretty well. Like,
So that was 2009, beginning 2009.
Yeah. Where all the retrenchments started happening and everyone started sort of panicking. I know at the time I just entered Urban Brew 2009, and I got in the job for like a month, and then all of us were like, or under this dark cloud, that they were going to get rid of productions and certain staff, and so that also affected us in a big way. Luckily, I stayed. So.
But you see what I mean? So now I'm finished after, and now I thought I have a TV show, like I'm gonna go, and then it's like we don't have money. So it was a heavy period, but I think at that point we did get the development funding at that point, so we were able to write, which now became a blessing. We got to write over a year because we got to fine tune. So Kat and I, we obviously got a writing team, and everyone came on board. But then in that time, while we're waiting to hear if this show is going to get made, we got to fine tune it. I then also worked with another production company. That's how the Voice of Vuzu thing came up. And
what was the line again?
Sarah Slay.
And you just said whatever, but like that would be stupid.
So I mean, that was, and at that point we were very serious, because you know what I think people do wrong, and it's also something we've learned later. So I say I'm a writer, I'm a producer. That's fine. But if you want to run a business, you got to treat it like it's a business. Definitely. And I think that's a mistake that we all make. Like, we want to be artists, and that's great.
And I think a lot of people don't actually understand what that means. So if you could just sort of give us the two differences, or the difference between the two. Because running a business and being
writer, producer,
it's two different things.
It's two different things.
How is it different? How is it different for somebody who's like sort of going, okay, but you're in the business of writing, or you're in the business of making TV.
Yes. But there's a difference when you're running a business. So when you run a business, you are looking at a bigger picture of things, that it has to be sustainable, that it has to be able to run, whether it is in TV, whether it is whatever industry it is.
Yeah.
So it took us a while to realize that we were just running as producers and writers. We were just running from the job to the job to the job. Like, next show, pitch, next show. That's not a model that's
so
really...
Did you guys run, okay, sort of like, to take you out of this conversation, do you guys run as a business in terms of you have a show, your lights are on, or do you guys run as a business like we have a show, we don't have a show, we're on the whole year?
Well, we try to be on the whole year. So it starts small. So you have to do a 5-year plan.
Yeah.
So we're very realistic about the industry and what it meant. Yeah. But we also had big dreams. We do one show, and then why wouldn't anyone else hire us to do every other show? But that never happens.
That never happens.
That never happens. You do one show, you're still going to be like at the bottom with everybody else.
Yeah.
The economy of how our industry works. But the thing is, when you start realizing that you've got to branch out, that's when you're running a business. Gotcha. When you're relying just on broadcasters who commission things that you don't own, at the end of the day, that's not really running a business.
That's not running a business. You're actually making their shows for them. And
which is great. I mean, and it's a model to still get keep some of the lights on and get things on, but you've got to think beyond that. You've got to think, and I think that's what you guys have done so well with Bar Leader in terms of branching out and stuff. So it's like you have to figure out, okay, do I want to be a writer? Because I can I could just be a writer, and I could still earn my money and whatever. Or do I run around a business? Where's Burnt Onion going? Where do we see Burnt Onion now that we're 10 years old? So in 2008, I have the minutes from our first meeting where we said we're doing a 5-year plan, where we came up with our tagline, always cooking, where we came up with our company profile. And then at 5 years, you got to stretch it out. You got to do it's like you have to do strat meetings. You have to position yourselves. Yeah, now we're 10 years deep. We definitely can't be still sitting in the same position we were 10 years ago.
So when did you sort of start looking beyond the TV show?
Well, that took a while because we get swallowed. So another thing about being a producer-writer, you get swallowed by every property that you're on. Yes. So instead of me like handing my babies away once we've won the pitch and then me sourcing the new business, I'm there still.
You're stuck in.
So you can't do this. When you're running a business, you can't do this. Once you got it, someone's got to be like, what's happening over there?
What's happening in the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter?
So that didn't happen until maybe let's say like maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago. And then we said we want to,
This is like when you're like 7 years.
Yeah. And it's crazy. And we're still going through the same rut and,
How do you survive? Because I'm in my third year. 3.5. And I've had to I learned that in the first year, that actually beyond the top 50 or beyond rich kids, what about June and what about October? How did you survive? Did you just have shows all the time?
No, we didn't just have shows all the time. It's also how you managed, it's also how you manage your budgets as well, right? So you got to see them stretch. Like, broadcasters don't give us millions. I know there's a misconception about producers and how we're really stingy and stuff. But there's things you got to manage. Like, maybe I don't get what I'm really worth in my business. But even though I would pay you maybe more than what I would be getting, but I need to see the sustainability of but I still want to be working for these kind of years. So it's like managing your money, doing cash flow projections. This is all very business stuff that I didn't learn it after, Crazy. I didn't learn any of that. But luckily, Kat, has an accounting degree, and he's been around in the industry for a while, both in front and behind. So he's there guiding us. He's our MD. But that kind of stuff, strats, cash flow projections. So literally, we'll have cash flow projections and be like,
amazing.
By next year, June, if we don't have a plan, we are out.
Yeah.
We are out.
I've been so close to, in my first year, second year, I was so close to closing down all the time. And then just miracles. So I call them miracles.
Show.
Yo, somebody wants something? Really? I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there is a big misconception around our budgets.
Sorry, I just had to look at sorry.
Spice Girls?
Yeah. 6
minutes. Okay, cool.
Sorry, can we just?
You can actually,
you can film it though.
Go for it.
Do you want to bring my laptop here?
Spice Girl tickets. We've had to stop because of
Yes.
Retty wants to buy some Spice Girl tickets.